Hello, Assalamu alaikum everybody. Hope you're all safe, sound, and healthy. And obviously, there has to be a part two after my whole rambling of an hour talking about Pakistani music and why it's so famous. Because, as usual, I actually forgot some of the essentials, especially to answer some of those questions that I'm sure keeps on coming on everybody's mind when they listen to Pakistani songs, especially when it comes from the traditional point of view, as in using traditional instruments and everything. That's fine and dandy, everybody understands that and everybody loves that. But then the major, I think, question is that what language, because obviously everybody has a slight idea of Urdu and how it sounds. But then when you listen to many of our folklore based songs or our mystical poetry, Sufism. So when you listen to the Sufi kalams and when you listen to folklores, then you're like, okay, so what? So here I'm hoping that I can sort of clear that point as well. Okay, so you see that most of the very, very popular spiritual songs, let's just say that instead of saying it Sufi kalam over and over again, so some of the most popular spiritual songs, you will notice that they're not in Urdu. Now, if you remember in my previous episode, when talking about Pakistani songs, why they're so famous and about the spiritual aspect and how it was Amir Khusro, so we have Amir Khusro, but then we have Bulleh Shah, we have Waris Shah, so we have all of these Punjabi poets who, basically wrote spiritual or mystic poetry, right? So these are all their poetry that people are singing in various different remix versions, you can say. So you will find the absolutely traditional version, then you will find in the traditional version also you will find two. You will find one with a minimalist aspect, where when it comes to instruments, which is the true, as you can say, maybe the authentic, the very first form of that recitation of poetry. And then we went on to the Qawwali mode, which is Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, Rahat Fateh Ali Khan, Apta Parveen, so that's where you usually see the predominant harmonium and then at play. And then you come on to the more remix fusion versions sung by modern Pakistani singers, right? So there's that. That is why actually most of our spiritual songs are predominantly Punjabi, because they were essentially, they started in Punjab. So the roots are here in Punjab. And this is why all these songs are predominantly in Punjabi. So, now here's this. Now, again, the party songs that people love so much about Pakistan, again, they are mainly Punjabi. Because, the beat of the Punjabi songs, because Punjab is supposed to be a very, very, they are very freestyled sort of people. That's one thing that Punjabis are always known for their freestyle, for their very, how do I say it, imagine that I could actually forget the word right now when I need it the most. But I mean, they have this carefree sort of an atmosphere around them. They're always, ready to party, taking things easy, chilling and all. That's the Punjabi vibe that you get, okay? So that is why you get to, so those party like songs again are mainly Punjabi, right? Those dance mixes that you see. So they're mainly Punjabi. When you come to folklore, then you have a variety of languages that you get to see. As you've seen a lot of Balochi oriented songs, and then you've seen Pashto, and then again Punjabi, so, and there's Sindhi. So these are the predominant languages that you get to listen to, although Pakistan has over 65 languages, and obviously in each language there is some folklore, like there's Rajasthani and there's, folk songs, and then, I mean, there are many, there are a variety, but I mean, the most popular ones throughout Pakistan, which is what then Pakistan showcases to the rest of the world. They are from Balochistan, from Punjab, from KPK, from Sindh, Rajasthan, right? So, I mean, that's where we are at. And then now you come on to, why again Punjabi. Why is there so much stuff in Punjabi? Because actually, Punjabi is one of the oldest literary languages in the world. You understand? So, for example, take French, for example. French was not always a literary language, it was originally just a spoken language, and it was, a long time later that they started, working on the written aspect of the language, which is why, as you can see, written French makes no sense. And there's the grammar is also extremely complicated in the French language. It's because it was originally just a spoken language, and to be able to fit all that into its written literary form, as you can see the result of it. So similarly, Urdu is basically a young language compared to the other languages, the other regional languages of Pakistan. Remember, Urdu, although again one would argue that the very, very original form of Urdu is also an ancient language, but Urdu as we know it today, this Urdu, which is known as Urdu, this is a comparatively new language. So, yes, right from its birth, it was a literary language, but again, it does not have that history, that richness that you will see in the more older languages. And again, in that case, you have Punjabi more than the other languages, because Punjabi was always a literary language, which means it is one of the oldest languages to be found in a written form. It's not just a spoken language, it was always a written language too. And this is why there is such a rich literature that you can find, whether it's, literature by all and prose, in prose form, or whether it's poetry, or whether it's mystic poetry, or whether it's folklore, or whether it's, it just doesn't matter. It has covered basically any and all aspects, of literature. So it's very, very rich. Punjabi is a very, very historically, culturally rich language, which is why you get to see so much Punjabi in even the most modern fusions of songs, or even the most modern romantic songs that have that dance beat to them, right? When it comes to Balochi, you see that soft, very soft, romantic sort of vibe. When it's Pashto, then you see again that sort of upbeat. You do get this upbeat music in, Pashto songs and in Sindhi songs, with their own traditional instruments. But again, the the music that the people all over the world tend to vibe to the most, which they're most now exposed to, is the Punjabi form of music that you get to hear. So I mean that's why I guess people, are like, okay, so yeah, no, so Punjabi is not the national language of Pakistan, but it is one of the oldest literary languages of Pakistan, which has a lot of literature and a lot of, and again, a good vast majority of mystical poetry work was done in Punjab by Punjabis. And it is there, it's been centuries, generation to generation, descendants, keeping that tradition up when it comes to Qawwal styles, and when it comes to, Sufyana Kalams and all. So yeah, that's why it's predominantly Punjabi. But that does not mean that you will not find rich poetry in other parts of Pakistan. No, it is such a vast, unexplored, you know, a very unexplored area, even for Pakistanis themselves, which is, I think, why you had Ruhail Hayat. And before Ruhail Hayat, it was Shoaib Mansoor. So that is why you have Shoaib Mansoor, Ruhail Hayat, then you have now Zulfikar. You've got all these people going all over Pakistan looking for those traditional gems. As you know, one of our very, very legendary traditional gem was Reshma, who again was a legend. She was a living legend at her time, and she was, literally once again, picked up even by Bollywood, and Bollywood begged her to sing tracks for their movies. Again, not before they'd already stolen some of her songs, which is what they always do. First, they steal the songs, and then they come and they beg the original singers to come and sing them for them. So, yeah. So, yes, despite the fact that, one would think that, India being such a huge country and music being part of their religion and their culture and everything, and music is essentially not part of the Islamic religion. But the reason why I would say that Pakistan still is more original in its music form and its diversity and its in producing a huge variety of singers throughout the ages, all those singers making a mark in a new genre every time on the whole South Asia. you know yeah, it's basically because I guess, whereas in India, they I guess one way or the other, they have a sort of a more restricted or a more, I don't know, actually. I don't understand why India cannot produce more original songs. Because I guess it's because India, as I said, still stays more and more to either complete westernized, commercialized form of music, or they go completely into their neoclassical music. And so as a result, again, as I said, because a large number of poetry that was produced was in this part of the subcontinent. So maybe that also has something to do with it, because we have centuries of literature to go through, you know. And I guess they never really bothered to explore, to go through centuries of their old folklores, maybe. I don't know. It's something that even I'm hard pressed to really understand. I mean, one can make a lot of excuses, or try to find out a lot of reasons as to why there's still that, saturation, and there's no real diversity in the Indian music industry. I think it's because it's predominantly Bollywood oriented. Yeah, I mean, despite the fact that music is supposed to be part of their religion, part of their culture, but I think it is so dominant. Bollywood is so dominant even in the music industry that it's as if, nothing else really matters. Whereas in Pakistan, because we don't have any such, limitations or domination or whatever it is you like to call it. So I guess Pakistanis have had the fortune to always be a bit more free to explore music. And as you know, that we have had some of the most amazing singers throughout the ages. We've had, the South Asian queen of pop, Nazia Hassan, and her brother. You can never forget, they were always the duo. They produced some of the best music ever, Nazia and Zoeb Hassan. And her death was a huge tragedy for everyone. She died young too, so that was double tragedy. And then, then after that, we had Muhammad Ali Shayaki, who was actually originally of Iranian descent, and then we had Alamgir, who was basically from Bangladesh, and he gained a lot of fame, he started his career in Pakistan. He gained a lot of fame, and it's only very much later in life when he retired and he decided, then he decided to go back to Bangladesh. Similarly, we had given, from Bangladesh, we have had singers and actors that, we had given full how do we say it, we allowed, we let them explore themselves here in Pakistan and gain fame in their works. And at the end, when they retired, they chose to go back, but they will always still be, to us, part of us. This is how we are as a culture, as a people. This is how we are. Once we've considered somebody as one of our own, they're one of our own. At the end, it's up to them if they wish to stay with us or if they wish to leave, but they'll always be considered as one of our own. And that is, I think, kind of the environment that you don't get in India as well. By the way, in India, there may have been a lot of foreigners that have worked there, but almost all of them were exploited, including our legendary singers, including, we had Atif Aslam, we had Ali Zafar, we had even they did not even have the courtesy to show some respect to even the legendary Rahat Fateh Ali Khan, and the legendary Ustad Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. You know, the Indian government's behavior, and after trying to steal from them their works, and then after inviting them, to collaborate with them on their works, and then not paying them, or exploiting them, or creating problems for them, because the fanatic Hindus, the extremist Hindus, suddenly they created security issues for our singers and our actors. And so similarly, other actors and singers from other parts of the world, they have not had good experiences in Bollywood. So which is why I keep on saying that it's very shameful. It's very shameful because Bollywood is supposed to be a huge industry, and when you're a huge industry, you need to at least have some decency, some professionalism, in the way you work and in the way you treat people that work in your industry or collaborate with you. You tend to see more professionalism here in Pakistan, in especially the music industry. I don't know what's going on the TV. As I said, I'm completely out of it. But yeah, once upon a time in the TV industry too. So I think we show more respect to guests from other countries when they come and they want to collaborate with us, or when they want to, build a career with us. As opposed to India. India does not show respect to foreign, very famous entertainers and performers. So I guess that's another problem there. Why, the Indian industry is pretty unoriginal. The entertainment industry, the film industry, the drama industry, they're very, very unoriginal for maybe this reason. Maybe there's more constraints and restrictions than there is in ours, I guess. So, yeah, I hope I've answered the major question as to the languages. As I said, when it comes to folklore, you will hear Balochi, you will hear Pashto, you will hear Rajasthani, you will hear Punjabi, you will hear Sindhi, you will hear many, many different, you will hear Kashmiri, you will hear really many languages, Potwari even. You will hear many languages when it comes to folklore. And when it comes to Sufiana Kalam, you will hear Persian, you will hear a bit of Arabic, but predominantly it's Punjabi, because even the Persian and Arabic that you do hear, they were written originally by those Punjabi Sufi poets. Remember, once upon a time, Persian was the language of the Muslims of India, and it was later on changed to Urdu. So there's that. And Abda Parveen is known to have sung in about 6 to 7 different languages fluently. She's sung a lot of these mystic poetry or spiritual songs. In her qawwalis, they have been really, in different languages. She's famous for that as well. So yeah, actually, come to think of it, we have no end of very, very famous singers that we've produced through time, from Vital Signs, which was the first, band in Pakistan, in the 80s, which to, Nazia Hassan, the first pop genre, the pop queen of South Asia, and then, moving on to them, as I said. And throughout the ages, we've had so many. We've had, Alamgir, we've had Muhammad Ali Shiaki, we've had Shahzad Roy, we've had Junoon, the rock band, again, the first official. We had many underground bands, but Junoon was like your official rock band, and again, international fame. Then, we have on the classical Qawwali side, we have Abda Parveen, we have Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. Then we have, on the classical front, we've got Ustad Nasiruddin, we've got on the ghazal front, we've got so many again. We've got really so many names, I just cannot take them. Or I'll again spend an hour, and even that wouldn't be enough. But those who know. We've got no end of names in each genre. You just think of a genre and you will not just have a few names, you will have multiple names coming up, you know. So yeah, that is it basically. I hope I've answered all those questions, and I hope there's nothing this time left. This is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz.